Now who wanna move closer on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world.
What's up, everybody? This is Ted Karras for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cincy Hat, and you're watching Bengals and Brews.
Yes, you are. The Emergency Russ Yeast podcast. The Bengals signed Russ Yeast to the practice squad, and we're all so pumped about it. We had to have an emergency episode. What's up, Dustin?
Oh, I'm feeling that yeast infection.
I got an itch. The only thing that can...
I got an itch.
Russ Yeast infection, yeah.
I got an itch, and only Dalton Risner can protect me from...
Oh, that happened too? Yeah, the Bengals signed Dalton Risner. We should probably learn it now because he's a part of the team.
Yeah.
So
I think it might be Risner. I like saying Risner.
No, it was going to be so good. Like the Rizzler, he was going to be the Risner. Like it was just perfect, but hey.
Yeah.
Hooday to everybody in the chat. We're excited. Bengals set their 53-man roster, but as we thought, there could be some movement today. There was no waiver claims. We did add up to 15 players now, if you include Russ Yeast, still a practice squad spot. I imagine that spot will go to whoever they release. I haven't seen who that is. I don't think the Bengals have officially announced Dalton Risner as an addition. It was reported by Jordan Schultz. Shout out to our guy, Jordan Schultz. And then also his wife made a TikTok or Instagram or whatever with a Bengals shirt on with him in the background. So the news must have just broke, and he's officially signing. So he's not come in to sign, probably doing that tomorrow would be my guess. Look like he's still at his house. But, yeah, a lot of action. So we'll start with Dalton Risner. How excited are you? Zach Taylor just said yesterday the Bengals have their starting right guard in the building. Was Dalton Risner there yesterday and we didn't know it? Because I think he's got a shot, but it may not be week one.
Yeah. I think it's really important to look at the timing of how all this went down when it looks to roster maneuvering. In a way, it's kind of brilliant because somebody was asking who we cut then. I know we went extra on the defensive line. So I think if you hold off on a day, and I don't specifically know how this works, but like maybe it will be easier to sneak like a Howard Cross or Eric Gregory back onto the practice squad because teams have already went through like kind of their waiver wire. It's getting set. They probably set their practice squads. I don't know how many are at full capacity. So I think it's kind of a sneaky way to like pull one of those guys back on the practice squad. So obviously you can create room for a Dalton. I also think it's a player organization kind of thing. Now, obviously any veteran, like, dude, we were in training camp from like July 21st till a couple of days ago. Like, who wants to go through that shit when you've done it for, 8+ years or whatever? So I think it was good timing with him. I think part of the conversation, I think they have been talking for a while. I think the Bengals probably wanted to do their due diligence just to see who would come on the waiver wire too when cut down days. So I think it's, from a patient standpoint, I'd imagine they had some type of handshake agreement that, this is kind of what we're thinking. We're really interested in signing you. We still got to go through our due diligence. And, Dalton, I don't even think he took those visits to Seattle or Pittsburgh.
I mean, it was never reported that he concluded a visit, but I guess they don't always get reported. You know what I mean? I'm sure.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that was like one of those things like that was kind of maybe tossed out there as a little bit of like maybe speed up the process with the Bengals. But all in all, it worked out. To your point, I think maybe be tough to get him in there on week one, but definitely an awesome opportunity for depth. I mean, he'll probably more than likely, we'll see how it goes, but like getting him on the field as soon as possible will be great. Mentoring of, Jalen Rivers, like there's a lot that goes into a signing like this. And I think it's really awesome. So,
and for everybody, it's not official. So like he has not signed the contract. He has not been at the stadium to sign it for the Bengals to announce. Then we'll know a corresponding move because I know a lot of people are asking who did they cut. And then Matt Walker also asked, like, who do we think they cut? I think there's 3 players that are probably options. And we went light on the O-line on the 53 to begin with, so we're not cutting anybody there. But I think it's the 2 D tackles that you mentioned, Cross and Gregory. I think Gregory is more likely than Cross because Cross, just based on their actions in the preseason games, he was with the second unit, right, when the starters were playing. So to me, it kind of set the pecking order each week. They didn't really change that from week to week. Tells me that they really like Howard Cross. Obviously, the familiarity with Al Golden helps him as well. But our guy, Eric Gregory, looked really good. I definitely think he would be the 6th D tackle. Sometimes they keep 4, let alone keeping 5, and then a 6. So right now we have 6 D tackles. D tackle makes a ton of sense, but I could also see we went heavy at tight end with 5. Cam Grandy, do you try to get him to the practice squad? I know they really like him, so it's probably, I would say Eric Gregory, gun to head, if I had to guess who gets cut and they try to get back to the practice squad, but Cam Grandy, I think, is another option.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you can game plan dependent with Grandy, what you do with him, that's a guy that, I don't think that'd be a problem getting him on the practice squad. So I'm not too worried about whatever roster maneuvering we need to do.
Whichever one I think will be okay. And I'm not sure that either of those guys would be somebody that another team snags up when they hit the wire. I think that they could get them to the practice squad.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're good players. But so I don't want to, I don't think it takes away from that. But I also think, teams are ready to kind of roll forward. They kind of already mostly set their rosters. There's still a little bit of maneuvering out there. But I think for the most part, you shouldn't have a problem sneaking those guys back onto the practice squad. So.
And I agree, Ryan. I think, it's time that we, sometimes we're harsh on them. We're, I don't know, we just give our opinions on things. And, sometimes our first opinions aren't the best opinions, or, they're a little harsher, or we think they could do more. And I got to say, getting Chase and Higgins done with long-term deals, getting Trey Hendrickson done with time to ramp up for game 1. I know it's just a bigger contract this year, but hey, he's happy for this year. So he's on the field. He's at practice. I'm excited about it. You go sign a Dalton Risner, even a Lucas Patrick, so your depth looks better. You drafted Dylan Fairchild. There's a lot of things that they've done that have to make you excited. Even an Oren Burks addition with drafting 2 linebackers. It's a spot that's weak, and they have went and attacked these positions that they needed to attack. Yeah. And they checked off a lot of boxes that you would have wanted checked off to start the process of free agency and before the offseason even really got kicked off in March. They kind of checked all those big boxes to me. So I got to give them a round of applause for job well done so far. Now, to me, the job should never be done because injuries are going to happen. You got to be willing to make moves, make trades, improve in season as you need to. But very excited and very pleased with what they've done so far.
Yeah, I mean, A+ off season. I mean, when you're able to sign 3 guys, that honestly is taking up quite a bit of your cap, and still have the flexibility to go make these types of signings, I think is really key. And I also think it points to following all the trends in the NFL. It's not always the smartest thing to do, right? I feel like when you take a step back and you actually look at the contract that they got with Trey, it actually ended up being a pretty good damn deal. It sounds like Trey's really happy with it as well. So they were able to come on to mutual ground. So I think there is times where it's smart to do things that the league is doing, but also kind of do things that fit your team too. Right. So, but yeah, as far as an off season, I think it's really solid. I do like a depth at a lot of our positions. From last season to this season, you got to give them a lot of credit because they've already created really good depth at the D tackle space. I actually generally, say what you will about swing tackle. I don't know. I do kind of like the depth pieces that we have on the O-line. I like the depth pieces that we have at the linebacker room. I like the depth pieces that we have at the secondary. Obviously, I would have loved to see Ivy and Newton play better in the preseason, but it's the preseason. I think those guys will step up. The safety room. I love that, PJ Jules is able to land a spot. Concerned about the safety still, but for the most part, from top to bottom, I feel really excited about the depth that we've been able to build throughout the roster.
Hey, Rick, I don't know who's saying don't listen to you. I said you were going to, you told us about the Trey stuff last week. It got done, man. I'm happy. 2-year deal, 1-year deal, whatever. And to me, it's basically like a 2-year deal because they still have control of the franchise tag. And Schefter put it be about $34.8 million. They used the void year in there, which could also maybe make that money a little different. But they've left open the option to put the franchise tag on him if he has 17 to 20 sacks again. Why the hell wouldn't you? I don't care. I mean, you're going to have cap space, so I'll be excited. I'm just excited.
Wouldn't it be something if the Bengals actually do a middle of the year deal? Like Trey's balling out and it's just like, let's get this fucking done. They just, kind of rework the contract in the middle of the year because it's not something they usually do. I mean, I don't think a lot of teams do, but that would be kind of cool to see,
Yeah, I agree. I guess we could also now pivot. We've talked about Dalton Risner. Trey Hendrickson did get that 1-year deal since the last time we had a show. I was on Jeff's show, but the news broke in between the Iceman show and our show of Hendrickson getting more money this year. So it's basically $29 million, but the cap hit's only like a $3 million difference. I mentioned the void year, some things that the Bengals put in there that they don't normally do. But either way, Hendrickson gets more money. He's not playing on his current contract. The Bengals have the control. I feel like the Bengals kind of won that deal to me because they have very little risk, especially still being able to franchise tag him. So anything you want to say on Trey before we move on to the 53-man roster? Because we talked Risner. I figure we'll talk Trey, go to 53-man, then the practice squad, all kinds of stuff to talk about during this show.
Yeah, a lot going on. I mean, we're not far from ball already, and there's so much happening. Not much on Trey. Just, excited to see him in. I mean, excited to, it's kind of a contract that keeps you motivated and hungry too. I mean, that's kind of what you want from players, selfishly, we want to see players get honored and get paid, but there is something to be said. If there's a little meat on the table, that keeps guys motivated too, just like any of us probably in our career. I'm excited that we finally were able to find common ground that both sides seem happy with. I think it was actually creative, like you mentioned. It's something the Bengals don't normally do. So I think it pushed the front office in a direction, or it pushed them in a way that maybe they haven't done before. And maybe, in the future they can learn from this and actually duplicate this and find out that this is a smart way to maybe do contracts in the future.
Yeah. So I just like, when we start to see some changes, we start to see, little different contract structures. We see adding a veteran this late and a guy like Dalton Risner trying to – it does tell me that they – these actions, and I think it shows the team too, they truly believe they can make a Super Bowl run, as they should when you have Joe Burrow as your quarterback, along with guys like Jamar Chase, who the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. Yeah. Jordan Jefferson's really great too. But I like that they're pushing those chips in and making those moves. We'll start – I guess we'll just kind of do like we did our preview show. So we'll start at quarterbacks. They kept the two that we thought they would, and Joe Burrow and Jake Browning. Desmond Ridder did not make the practice squad. So I guess we can talk a little about the practice squad if we go through it this way too. They signed Brett Rapine, who famously, as I completely forgot, is who Dalton Risner got into it with during a Broncos game a few years back. So those guys are reunited. That's interesting. But your thoughts on Brett Rapine and a guy like Desmond Ridder. We mentioned Rapine and we mentioned Dorian Thompson-Robinson as two guys that were already out there when we had the show Monday that I thought made sense for a practice squad spot. Yeah,
I mean, you could go in one of two different directions with the practice squad, is have somebody that's kind of a developmental piece. I think they went more with the veteran piece. He's played a lot of ball, been in the league. So I'm fine with that. I think you maybe circle back the wagons back around in the future and maybe use like a late round draft pick on a developmental piece. If we do have some picks that are stockpiled. So, Desmond, it just didn't seem like it was working out for him in the NFL for whatever reason. I think it's okay to be a great college quarterback and just be okay in the NFL. It's a great career. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You had, your chance. You played meaningful NFL snaps. That's something to kind of look back on and be really satisfied with. It's just not going to work out for everybody. So I think he'll be fine wherever he decides to do in the future. I mean, there's spring leagues. There's a lot of options now. I'm sure if he stays around the Cincinnati area, being the legend that he is,
High school coach.
Yeah, business opportunities. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these players. Actually, you see, God, who was our cornerback? His name's he had that Leon Hall. He's from San Diego, California. Like that's where he's born and raised. He's a coach in Cincinnati. So, like there's opportunities when you're good in Cincinnati. I think it's like that type of community that will take care of you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. And Chris, that's a good point. Since I did mention how they got in that tiff, it was never a big deal. Something gets caught on camera in the heat of a moment in an NFL game. But these guys are good buddies, as you say here, and they laughed it off later in the game. Not a big deal. And it was never going to keep the Bengals from signing these guys. So, not an issue at all. Yeah, man. Hoo-day to you, Randall. Hoo-day to everybody in the chat tuning in that maybe normally don't. We appreciate it. Taking a look through the 53 and now the practice squad along with it. We talked about Risner and Hendrickson already for anybody just tuning in. But running back. Played out perfectly. Couldn't have planned it any better. They kept the 3 we said. And then they also were able to keep Milton and Brightwell both on the practice squad. 2 guys that we talked about keeping, 2 guys we really like. And if you got an injury, I feel good that either one could come in and give you something as running backs and in the return game in Brightwell's case. Your thoughts on the running back room with Chase Brown, Samaje Perine, Taj Brooks on the 53, and then our 2 practice squad signings.
I don't want this to sound bad. I love our running back room. I don't know if you guys saw the news today. Mixon could potentially be out for the entire season. I only say that just to say that the ability, again, to flip our running back into a room of strength and depth is really impressive. I'm very excited. I'm excited for the practice squad players, too, if they have to come up for whatever reason. I think we saw Kendall Milton is a dude that runs tough and angry and gets downhill. And then Brightwell gives you some return ability as well. So very excited about just, the variety of players that we have in that position, but also the depth, obviously.
Yeah, I love it. I think the running back room looks really good. Obviously, Chase Brown, I expect to take a big leap again this season after he did last season. The guy is an excellent receiving back, got great burst, home run hitter at any time. Yeah, Chop, there's a show. Hop on. I know you just woke up. I mentioned it a couple hours ago, potentially doing one, but you were obviously sleeping. But we love you, and you probably got to work. Maybe you can't hop on, but love to have you hop on if you got time.
And not to get too far ahead, we got plenty of time. I do think, first game of the season, I could see Chase Brown being utilized, a lot. They talked about lining him up outside more. They usually use that to motion him in to signify the looks if it's man. Help Burrow, kind of identify those. But I actually think there's opportunities we're going to see him split out a little bit more this year. So God, he's such a versatile piece. I can't wait for him to just be unleashed in a lot of different ways.
And Dan Pitcher showed us he's willing to move guys around the way he moved Jamar Chase and everybody around last year in his first year as offense coordinator. So he's going to find ways to move guys around, keep things fresh, keep different looks coming at defenses. So, yeah, I think Chase Brown is going to have a monster season, providing he stays healthy. But, hey, the depth looks good behind him if he does miss any time. Knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't.
Yeah.
Tyler Kelly, Brooks is not going to be the starter, and the backup is not going to be Brown unless there's an injury. Stop it with the Steelers-ass fan that don't know ball at all. It's everyone in the chat, just get on. Tell Tyler Kelly what a moron he is. This guy.
Tell him the Steelers better give the ball to Jalen Warren or they're idiots. They should have the last 2 years.
The Power Peanut, man. The center. I'm blanking. Why am I blanking on his real name?
Willie.
I just also.
Willie.
Huh?
Willie.
Yeah, Willie Lampkin. I don't know why I was just blanking on his name because I'm so used to calling him the Power Peanut again. But Willie Lampkin, the Philadelphia Eagles picked him up, and they'd actually put him on injured. But you can still pick a guy up that you waive injured. Most of the time, it just doesn't happen. I think the Rams were trying to pull a slick one there and make sure they kept Willie Lampkin, and the Eagles said, nah, we'll take him. And he'll probably turn out to be an absolute stud at center. You can see it now. Willie Lampkin doing the tush push in the Super Bowl for Jalen Hurts in the future. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could definitely see it. Power Peanut lives.
I know. You got to give, I guess, the Eagles credit. That's kind of I don't know. That's kind of a sketcy move. But anyways,
yeah.
Because I feel like there's a gentleman's handshake agreement on that type of stuff.
Is there, though? I mean, is there?
have we seen a lot of that happen? Like where guys will get picked up and then put on injured from like the waiver wire that doesn't clear the waiver wire that goes to free agency.
Westish, yes, I'm going to glaze Lampkin just a bit for the simple fact that he has no business being good. He didn't in college, and he does it in the NFL, and he had a great preseason. So it's just like it's what I put in the draft guide. So I just want to mention it, but we'll move on to wide receivers because I know it's a Bengals show, not a draft episode, and there's plenty of Bengals stuff. But I just wanted to mention him. I do love the Power Peanut. Ryan mentioned him first. To be fair, blame Ryan Sparks, everyone. Wide receiver though. We kept 6. We kept the 6 we thought. Mitch Tinsley, Hive lives. Charlie Jones, of course, Jermaine Burton. And then Yosavash wasn't going anywhere, obviously. He's a starter in the slot. Higgins and Chase, duh. So that's our 6. Then on the practice squad, no Kendrick Pryor, who I said could have been one. But I said Jordan Moore was somebody to watch out for. Undrafted player out of Duke, signed to the practice squad. Yeah. And then my guy is still around, Isaiah Williams. I was on that Isaiah Williams hype train until I met this man named Mitch Tinsley, and I said, oh, my God, I'm on his hype train instead because he's definitely got more upside as a receiver than what Williams does. But I think I like the 2 players, specifically Isaiah Williams, that you kept because Charlie Jones does have an injury history. And if he has to miss time, I feel really good if he's our punt returner. I mean, you have Jermaine Burton that could possibly do that too, but he's also been dealing with a knee injury. If you need Isaiah Williams for a game, you can call him up from the practice squad for that game, and he can be your punt returner and kick returner if needed at worst. So I like having him on the practice squad. And obviously, I'm very happy for a guy like Mitch Tinsley, who's been on practice squad for a year or two and just seems like a great kid. Did you see the video, Dustin, where, oh, man, that video was so great with Troy Walters, the wide receiver coach. And he's literally like, he's just giving you good news. It's supposed to be one of those videos where that they show you're excited. And he's like, Coach, what can I do to get better? Yeah. Dude, that just got me so excited. That's why this kid has a chance to be somebody in the NFL, not just, I made a 53. He wants to keep working. He wants to keep getting better. So Mitch Tinsley excites me. Your thoughts on the wide receivers, practice squad, the 53, all of it?
Yeah, to note, you're talking about the returners. I think that's like something important to talk about as like skill positions that end up on the practice squad. They all have special teams ability. So that's always nice if anything goes on to special teams. Like when they get called up, they're kind of just not taking a roster spot. They can actually contribute. So I think that's really important. I mean, the Mitch Tinsley story is just phenomenal. If I guess ball truthers have been saying watch out for this guy since his Penn State days. He kind of just flew under the radar for whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with his game. So, hey, I know there's so many prospects. I do just not have anybody on. He wasn't a player I disliked. I didn't watch him. I didn't have nothing on that guy. Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, when you just look at to me, he just looks natural the way he's able to maneuver his body. His ability to just snag the balls out of the air to his routes are really good too. He gets open, he gets really good separation. I mean, again, preseason, you're going to see a different level of cornerback in the regular season, but obviously having that trust with Burrow and just our coaching staff that already has we have a deep wide receiver core so him to break in is really cool to see. And yeah, that video was phenomenal. Anytime anybody's asking for feedback, that's very impressive to me. And he just seems like a really cool dude. I'm excited that he's on the Bengals and just representing our team. I love dudes like that.
Yeah, and I love guys that work for it and earn those spots. I mean, I absolutely love that. So we'll move on to tight end. So tight end, they kept 5. We said it was a possibility on the show on Monday, but honestly, I don't think that would have been the move I made. And honestly, I would have been okay with keeping Grandy over Hudson, but clearly Burrow, the Bengals, love Hudson. He did show some special teams as well last year, but it was just weird how much he played. So you didn't know, were they showcasing him for a trade, what, But they ultimately kept 5. We'll see what shakes out after Dalton Risner signing to the 53. Somebody's got to be let go. We talked about that earlier. We think it'll be a D tackle more likely than a tight end, but it's possible, and they go back to 4. But, man, you got Mike Gesicki, Noah Fant, the GOAT Drew Sample, You've got Tanner Hudson, and you have Cam Grandy. That's a lot of tight ends and a lot of guys that have different skill sets and can do a lot of things. You got a lot of good receivers. You got a lot of good blockers. Obviously, you want guys that can do a little bit of both. But I just want good football players, and I think there's a lot of good football players in that tight end room for Burrow and company to work with.
You know what? Fuck the receivers. We're lining up in 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 personnel. We're only going to run the ball. This is the old Ohio State 3 yards in a cloud of dust day. Yeah, I mean, we did talk about like the tight ends and it probably being a real strong possibility there would be 5 tight ends.
And there's no tight ends. Sorry to cut you off, but T. Brookie says, I can see Grandy moving to the practice squad at some point, whether it's the initial or not. But there's no tight ends on the practice squad. Of course, why do you need them if we got 5 on the roster? So it kind of works both ways either way, you know. But there's no one there on the practice squad if they want to put someone there.
How many receivers do we usually carry on the active game day roster?
I feel like the receiver is inactive a lot. So I feel like 5 out of the 6 are usually active and 1 receiver because Jermaine Burton had that role as the inactive a lot. But there's a guy that's inactive. We've seen when Trenton Irwin was here, he would be the inactive one a lot. Yeah. I feel like we usually have an inactive wide receiver on game day unless somebody's dealing with an injury, dinged up coming in. You don't know how much they'll play. Then maybe you have all 6 active, but usually 5 out of 6. So it's going to be interesting. Burton was back at practice today, but Burton, Tinsley, as of right now, who's that receiver 5 to you? Burton's got the return ability. Yeah. But if Charlie Jones is healthy, then he can do that.
Yeah.
But then if Burton's inactive and Charlie Jones gets hurt in game, then who's your punt returner?
I will say 3rd preseason game. Tinsley not even having his helmet on, you know, or dressed. I can't remember, but I kind of think that tells you a little bit. I could see another year of unfortunately Burton kind of being inactive on game days, and it's just kind of depending, you know. I don't know. It just kind of seems like that's the route that's going at the moment.
Like it wouldn't be shocking.
Yeah,
and they can always say, "Oh, he's kind of battling the knee," so we're not. You know, they can even say that. We'll see. And maybe it is Tinsley, you know what I mean? Maybe we're like, overly hyping this guy up from that preseason game. But I mean, we've heard Joe Burrow say a lot of good things about him, but maybe he is the inactive because Burton and Jones as return guys. That's very possible as well. So tight ends. Anything else on the tight ends before we move on to O-line?
No, we didn't really see how, much from Fant in the preseason. It'll be interesting to just kind of see like what they kind of put together. I mean, I think it's still like, kind of the first month of the season, you're still trying to figure out. It's like the new preseason, let's be honest. Like the first month of regular season, you're really trying to figure out what kind of team that you have. Now, obviously, we have a lot of continuity. We know what our identity is, but it's like those players like the Noah Fants of the world is like, how do you use him? How do you fit him in? So I think it will be I don't see him making a huge impact early on, but I think as the season evolves, you're going to see a little more action from him and packages that fit his skill set. So.
Yeah. So we'll move on to offensive line. Keeping 8 was very surprising. Mm-hmm. We talked about how they usually they have 8 active, right? But I had 10, but thought they could go 9. Well, now we find out Dalton Risner is set to sign with the Bengals, not official yet, but Dalton Risner is signing. So now you do have 9. And I think that's a good, solid number. But, man, they feel better about a guy like Cody Ford and even Jalen Rivers that can come in and play tackle if you need them to than what I do. I do think that we could use another swing tackle. We were able to get Seth McLaughlin. I was a little worried somebody could claim him. But, yes, we've said he needs to ramp up. He needs time. I just thought they might keep him on the 53 to do that. But having him on the practice squad, even better. So we've got him there. Andrew Coker made it to the practice squad. He's a guy I thought could have made it to the 53 because he was very impressive. Caleb Etienne went on injury reserve. Cordell Volson's on injury reserve for the season. They waived them injured or whatever. So I don't know if they even have a chance to have them back. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like starting lineup, right guard, who is the starting right guard is probably the best question to ask because we have Lucas Patrick. I don't think Cody Ford's in that conversation anymore as even competing. I think he is the swing tackle and potentially the first guy up at guard, even though we liked what we saw from Jalen Rivers at right guard. Who do you think is the starting right guard? Does Jalen Rivers have a shot? Is Dalton Risner going to come in a week and earn that job? Or do you think it's just Lucas Patrick, which is how I feel?
Yeah, I think it's Lucas Patrick for the time being. I think it's kind of a fluid situation. I think, him getting so many snaps in the preseason, maybe some continuity that's been built up. Now, obviously, it seems like he's okay injury-wise. So I kind of feel like the coaching staff at this point are not going to want to rock the boat too much. But I do think as the season goes on, whatever with Dalton, with Jalen Rivers, I think the starting five that you see today, which the 4 of the 5 are going to stay there, albeit they all stay healthy or whatever else happens. But I think the right guard position is not going to be who starts on opening day. I think that will be different throughout the season, within the season.
I honestly don't. Lucas Patrick looked pretty decent against Washington. I think everybody was shitting on him. And when I clipped that up, I was like, he looked pretty damn good, to be honest. Yeah. But we'll see. He has dealt with multiple injuries too. So it's and he's like a 10-year guy in the league. Is he going to constantly be injured? I mean, Risner has also dealt with injuries. And then you've got this Jalen Rivers kid just sitting out there who looked damn good after he went through training camp as offensive tackle most of the time. Mm-hmm. And it didn't take long for him to get up to speed and look pretty damn natural at right tackle. And he mainly played left tackle and left guard at Miami. We say, yeah, he switched back and forth between tackle and guard, but it was on the left side. And it is a little bit different, you know what I mean, when you're switching sides. But it didn't seem to be a problem for him. I think he's a natural right guard as a bigger bodied guy. So
and I have no concerns if it's the middle of the season and he has to come in and play right guard at that point. Maybe not to start the season.
Yeah.
As he gets more development, observes a little bit more from the sideline. I'm not in panic mode at that point.
Oh, I'm enjoying an adult beverage while the show's on, Randall. This is called ripping a heater, is when I go off screen. It's just a thing I do. I don't rip heaters on screen, but yeah. The adult beverages are being enjoyed. So to be fair, we signed Dalton Risner, and I'm like, damn, we should do a pop-up show. I called Dustin. I'm literally on the treadmill because I'm fat. So I have to be on the treadmill so I don't get fatter. And I was just, at that point, I'm like, all right, setting the show. I'm going to get a 6-pack. Fuck it. Let's go, boys. Football's back. So cutting your workout short to get a 6-pack of Miller Lights. That's when you know it's fucking football season. We're all the way fucking back.
I mean,
there's just too much going on. I was like, we have to do a pop-up show.
Not to get sidetracked. Have you looked at the tomorrow night's lineup for Thursday night football games, college football?
I feel like I did last week, and then I already forgot.
Yeah, and then Friday night is even good too. Georgia Tech's playing Colorado. I think that's an interesting matchup, but nonetheless, Dalton's wife Whitney's all over on Twitter. She's stoked. She retweeted Jordan Schultz's tweet, and then she uploaded her video. Conveniently, she has that jersey, that baseball.
Yeah, that we seen in that first video.
Yeah, that's just so fly. I need to get one of those. But she already had that, so it's a nice little welcome package from the Bengals that was probably sent out. The timing on that, So, yeah. Dawn, I know you didn't make those visits to Seattle, my dude, or you went up there and went to Vancouver Island and floated around on a boat. I know you did.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on offensive line? I'm still excited. I mean, Seth McLaughlin being around. Jackson Kirkland didn't impress, but hey, you've got depth on the practice squad. I don't think that's a bad thing. So you got Seth Kirkland. Devin Cochran's on the practice squad, Crypt Keeper. He's still around. They still believe in him. And then my guy Coker. 4 guys on the practice squad plus Risner. I'm all for having O-line depth especially on the practice squad where it's not counting against your 53 as much.
I would say Jackson Kirkland. I would have liked to see more of development from him this year. I liked him coming out. It just, I don't know.
Well, he earned a spot last year on the 53, and then he got injured, and which was his problem coming out of college. He was constantly injured.
Yeah. Those injuries, especially when it's early in your career, it can kind of really stunt your development. So hopefully he can stay healthy, continue to development, and we'll see what we got for him in the future. But yeah, I do like the practice squad depth players on the offensive line. I mean, I think Seth, we're all really excited about him. I think despite him getting cleared, I can kind of just see this being a redshirt year this year, which I'm totally fine with.
Me too. You've got Ted Karras. You've got Matt Lee. Matt Lee looked really good for a guy who missed all of camp in that first half.
Yeah.
He's just a good football player.
He's good, man. He's good. He's really good, actually. I like him a lot.
If he's the heir apparent to Ted Karras, whether that's next season, 2-3 seasons from now, I would be pretty happy with that. And Seth McLaughlin still has a chance to be in that conversation too.
Yo, what if we hit on Rivers, Mims, Fairchild, Matt Lee, and then Seth? Maybe we've turned the fortune from the last and
it's Orlando. Do you extend him? You got to see how the season goes, but he's an extension candidate. He's got this year and next year, I believe, on his contract. He's a guy I'd look to extend personally if he's still playing well. Or do you say, hey, we're hitting so well on this offensive line, let's find a future left tackle and hit again in the first 2 or 3 rounds?
Dude, I don't know. I know your draft strategy similar. I'm always taking middle round guards at least. I don't want to spend huge draft capital on guards. Now, tackles, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I'm drafting tackles as much as possible.
Dude, the top end of this tackle class, not to make it a draft show, you guys know how I am, but, man, the top end of this draft class could set up really well to take a really good tackle in this draft class in the first round, and you could let him set and learn. But if Zeus plays well this year, I'm with you, Randall. I would just sign him. Just keep him, give him a 2 more year extension. I'm good with that. I mean, he's such a leader too in the locker room. Yeah, such a good dude that I don't think you can go wrong at that.
Yeah. I think he seems like he really loves it in Cincinnati. He loves his teammates. I can kind of and he's played for a few different teams, not performance related. He's always been a baller. But I think in rounding out his career, I do think that's a deal that you should be able to get done if he's still healthy and playing well. So, yeah.
Yeah. And he wanted to come here. So I don't think he would ask for anything crazy. I'm sure he knows he's getting a little older. They could maybe work something out.
Right.
But yeah, we'll move on to the D line. So they kept 11 on the 53-man roster. That was surprising. I mean, Taven Bryan, when he got released, the day before, we were like, okay, that opens the path for Howard Cross. I'd be lying if I said I thought Eric Gregory was making it. Now, we talked about this already, but when Risner signs, I think Eric Gregory could be the guy they move to the practice squad. They go with 5 D tackles, 5 D ends, Cam Sample being on there. I love my guy, Isaiah Thomas, but I got to say, he made it to the practice squad, and I'm happy because I thought that guy is really good. And if we need some pass rush juice, need to call him up, got some guys dinged up at the edge position during the season, I feel good about Isaiah Thomas having to take some snaps and come in on 3rd down and rush the passer. He can rush the passer. He can do that. Your thoughts on the D-line?
Yeah, I think you can kind of see the vision for Al Golden. The defensive tackles look like the same defensive tackles. I mean, obviously Howard Cross, but guys that he had at Notre Dame. I was a little surprised with the 11. However, again, I'm pretty bullish on our defensive line. We'll see how the pass rush goes. I think it's important to the first week of the season we do play. I feel like a Browns line that's been kind of banged up in the preseason. So out of the gate, I would like to see guys winning one-on-one matchups. I do like the flashes. I don't know if it in any preseason game, I know we had some guys flash on the edge over the years, but I don't know if I've seen as many, depth pieces flash as much at defensive tackle maybe Dominic Davis, but outside of Gregory and Howard Crossflash this preseason. And that's really what you ask for from rookie players coming in, is you want to see.
And so much praise for Chris Jenkins coming out of the building, coming from Al Golden. And I mean, he looked pretty good, but the praise he's getting is a guy who's about to take his game to another level. And that's exciting. BJ Hill, we didn't really see anything from in the preseason, but we kind of know he's a steady force, good player. I think we don't want him getting 70% of the snaps ever. Like, I'd prefer he get close to 50 or less, because he's got a rotation of 2 more guys that can come in and rotate with him, if you have 5 or 6 D tackles. So to me, that's exciting. The exciting part, keep these guys fresh too on the D line and rotate, because that's what the teams like the Eagles and a lot of these other teams do.
Yeah.
They're constantly rotating their D linemen. No one's playing 70-75% of the snaps. Keep all these guys fresh, so at the end of the game, you got your best horses in there ready to run.
And when they come at you in waves like that, especially with our offense building leads in these games, and you can just bring fresh, because sometimes pass rush, especially when you're getting in like the late third, fourth quarters and your team's ahead, it's really about just like pin your ears back, hustle, get after the quarterback. Like, I don't need you to be this crazy technician. So what helps with that is having a deep defensive line with fresh legs in those quarters, so. And I think like our defensive best years over the span of the Bengals, which is not rocket science, we've always had pretty deep defensive lines on those teams. So yeah, stoked for it.
Now we're going to move on. Well, before we move on though, was there any other D lineman that made the practice squad right off the rip? That's why I was getting ready to look up. I know Isaiah Thomas, the edge rusher, and they kept 11. Yeah. And maybe one comes down as a defensive tackle.
No, he was the only one, and that's kind of, I wonder, like the roster maneuvering is still going to be kind of interesting, because I think we might have but
I think that's okay, right? You've got 5 defensive ends for now, and you feel good about Isaiah Thomas as a 6th. Plus, you've got 6 D tackles on the 53. Now, we think that could change, and a guy like Gregory could be going down to the practice squad unless he gets claimed, if he's the guy who's cut for Risner. So you still got 1 D tackle, 1 D in on the practice squad potentially, and 5 and 5 for the 53. So I think it works out pretty good, and I have no disagreement with the players that are still around, both on the 53 and the practice squad in that scenario.
Yeah, I agree. Did we? I may have missed it. Did we ever hear anything like what the status like was? Cedric Johnson put on like a pup or okay?
Yeah, he was put on injured reserve. It was him and Dejon Anthony. So when you're put on injured reserve to not count against the 53 initially like this, that means you're out 4 weeks regardless. Whereas they have the new rules now, you can put a guy on injured reserve and bring him back sooner. But they have to be on the 53 to be part of that. Whereas those 2 guys were put on injured reserve right away. So that's minimum 4 weeks to start. So you can worry about that in 4 weeks with guys like Cedric Johnson and Dejon Anthony at safety.
Yeah. So we'll have some decisions to make after week 4.
Yeah.
On those guys. Yeah.
And that stuff normally works itself out. Because there's just guys that get dinged up and injured, and someone else goes on injured reserve, or someone's out for the season. Not wishing that on anybody, but they generally work themselves out to when a guy is coming back, they've got a roster spot. They're not having to sign people off the street, I think is even better. And that's why I like the construction of this practice squad quite a bit. We'll move on to the linebackers now. They have 2 on the practice squad. They kept 5. No issue with the 5 they kept, obviously. Logan Wilson, Demetrius Knight, Oren Burks, Barrett Carter, and then they kept Shaka Hayward. That was the thing. Who's the 5th linebacker? Who's going to get that 5th spot? We said maybe they're 6th. But Shaka Hayward looks so good when he plays. He looked so good against Pittsburgh last year that if he had to come in and start a game, he could do it. And that's one thing at the linebacker position. We've had some guys that can go start other places. Look at Joe Bocci. Joe Bocci's the cold starter. He's been like our 5th linebacker. So, I like the linebackers. And then we kept Joe Giles Harris and Mumas Young Meta on the practice squad. Both guys that I thought could have made the 53, great special teams guys. If you needed to call somebody up, you're going to call those guys up. So I think the linebacker room, everything worked out really well to me. That's 7 guys that you feel like you could count on if you needed to for special teams roles or linebacker snaps. Your thoughts on the linebackers?
I expect our defense moving forward with Al Golden and his evaluation and love for linebackers, that always being a position of strength. Unless, Al Golden, we get a top 5 defense and he gets hired as a fucking head coach somewhere.
Right.
Nah. But yeah, I'm like, I love, the depth pieces here. I mean, I think we all love what we saw from Giles Harris, Meta. We all love him. Special teams contributor too. Shaka Hayward, to your point, he performed really well when he came in towards the end of last year. So love that. I think the Oren Burks signing is really still underrated. If you saw some of his playoff snaps that he had for Eagles, he was a valuable contributor.
Yeah.
He can cover guys out of the backfield. Just a ball player.
He makes splash plays. You know what I mean? He'll knock the ball out and create a fumble. He'll get an interception. He'll get a tackle for a loss. He'll do those plays. He may have some bad reps too. Yeah. All players do. But he'll make some splash plays that are all right. And he's been there and done that. Playing in the Super Bowl, that's so valuable too in the locker room. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, I'm worried and excited about the linebacker. I'm excited about the depth. I'm worried about the starters. I'm worried about Demetrius Knight and Logan Wilson. I think we've talked about that. But I'm excited about the depth if they need to go to someone else. And I still think Demetrius Knight, there's a lot there. Yeah, but he's got to improve quick or Oren Burks will be taking that spot. And Logan Wilson, I really hope he hasn't lost a step, but damn, it really has felt that way over the last 2 years, as you've mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a concern of mine as well. I mean, time will only tell on those. I do think with Al Golden, I do think the linebacker position will also be pretty fluid, where you see kind of guys coming in on matchups specific, maybe this specific game or this specific game plan, you're going to see more Oren Burks, or I know that they were excited to try to use Demetrius Knight on some more blitz packages. In the traditional 4-3, you can light him outside and send him on blitzes too. So it'll be interesting how they kind of rotate the linebackers around and how do they utilize them. But yeah, from a depth perspective, very excited. Obviously, the starters want to see a little bit more from. I think we'll have some of those questions. Because I think, what Cleveland does a lot of, is they present a lot of eye candy. I mean, I don't think Kevin Stefanski is the best, head coach in the world, but he is a great play caller. So for Demetrius Knight, they're going to try to confuse him. I mean, they're going to try to isolate him. His eye discipline is going to be really important. So his feet's going to be held to the fire week 1, So we'll get answers pretty quick on both those guys.
And before we go defensive backs, I guess we'll just talk about specialists so I don't forget about them, because I feel like if we go defensive backs first, I'll forget specialists. William Wagner beat out Cal Adamitis for the long snapper job. So a bit of a surprise, honestly. Your thoughts on that before we jump into defensive backs?
Yeah, I mean, I think in that video, I just kind of saw what the things that they were looking for. I don't know specifically with Cal if it was maybe a coverage on punt situation. I know there was a couple of times the operations were a little wacky. I just think generally they're probably looking to get younger in that position. I do like what I saw from Willie Wags. I actually went back in some of his tape in college, and he does get down the field and he's involved. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, a little bit of a shocker, but also something that's just hey, the Bengals, Darren Simmons, he knows his special teams, probably saw this was an upgrade. So
well, he was the best according to. I do not evaluate long snappers. I'm not equipped to do that, but I will say that William Wagner was rated as the top long snapper to a lot of people, so that's kind of a big deal. We got the Iceman in here right before his show starts. Might hop over to his show after this show at 5:30. Sports with Strawberry Ice, check it out. Iceman, we are talking defensive back, so I'm going to rattle this off, let you guys talk while I go check on my dog after I rattle this off. We kept
what do you got?
no real surprises. We kept the 6 corners we expected.
Yeah.
Dejon Anthony went to injured reserve, so we kept P.J. Jules as safety. So he was the 10th. Then on the practice squad, we kept Jalen Davis, the veteran. He's never leaving. Jalen Davis is going to be on this practice squad.
He's never leaving. Yeah, he's never. He can't die. He can't die.
Yeah, you gotta love Jalen Davis.
Go check out your dog real quick. I got 9 minutes.
I know. Braylon Lux at cornerback. I love what he did in the offseason. And I think, and then we added your guy here, Dustin's name he put, Rush East as safety to the practice squad. All right,
I saw that. Yeah. So Dustin, tell me about your boy. Give me some explanation about him. Why are you so excited about him?
Oh, I just I know our coach Desi was with him in LA.
Yeah.
He is a player that I think on the back end he can make plays. Like he's a guy that has good range. He gets involved in the running game. Like size wise, I kind of like, I'm a little smallish, but for the most part, I think he's a solid depth piece for sure. I mean, it's just
right.
I think we needed to add to the safety room. I don't think any safeties out there were going to be big splashes. I know Kyle Duggar's name was being floated around. Honestly, I watched Kyle Duggar in their final preseason game against like the scrubs, and I was like, that guy's okay. Like we're highly overrating him. So yeah.
So do you think they're going to add anybody to the actual 53-man roster for the safety? Because that's the thing I've been concerned about with Geno Stone and just the depth. We don't have a lot of depth there. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I hope so. I'm nervous about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's throwing around Justin Simmons' name. I mean, I don't like.
But will he come in here for a backup? That's because Richard Skinner said that on my show. Because I brought that up to him. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I just I haven't went through his tape the last couple of years. It just kind of seems like he's fallen off quite a bit. So I don't know what you're getting from him. Like if you want him as a depth piece, fine. If he wants to start, I mean, I don't see his name being linked anywhere. So I don't really know what to deal with him. I just kind of think like there's not a lot out there anymore unless I'm forgetting somebody. So I think we're just going to have to roll. I do think, though, like when it comes to safety, Al Golden will figure out ways to maybe kind of like protect these guys or not and try to utilize them in the best way.
Tyson Anderson season, baby. I know Jeff's excited about that.
Let's go.
That's my
boy. But I think he's going to be good. Like Dale, you've heard me talk about this. I'm going to worry about the depth. If these guys get hurt, if Geno Stone sucks, just
we have a yeast infection now.
Yeah, he's on a practice squad. I know. I know that.
I know, but that's the depth. Your practice squad is part of your depth too, which is why I'm so excited about our practice squad because people weren't signed. I wrote a whole article about it for Cincy Jungle today because I was like, I'm low key super excited about the options we still have on the practice squad because no one was claimed, and then it wasn't even official yet who signed, but everybody signed on one end.
I'm excited McLaughlin made it to the practice squad. I thought for sure somebody pick him up, but he did.
Yeah. Well, we've kind of ran through my stuff here, and Jeff, I know you got your show in a little bit. Who's going to be your guest today?
I got Josh Isles from Who Dey Nation, and maybe the boys from Bengals Brewers might be showing.
Like us?
Yeah, maybe. Dalton, I can send you a link if you want to jump on too, brother.
You're gonna sit. Yeah, Dustin, we're just gonna keep this party.
I'll have to watch. I'll have to watch from afar.
Yeah, Dustin doesn't like coming on my show. He just like.
No, I've been on. Remember, we told Dale he needs to put his draft guide inside of like a porn magazine or something.
Forgot about that. That must have been after dark.
But yeah, shoot me a link on Twitter, and I'll hop over there, and I'll come on with you for sure, and have some fun, man. Keep this party rolling. I see Divine in the chat. Divine should hop in on the show too.
Divine, we got Dalton Risner.
Party.
No!
Divine has to talk to you about Eric Gregory. He's been all over Eric Gregory.
I gotta go, boys.
Peace, Ice.
See you, dude.
Divine, you gotta hit people to Eric Gregory, please.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep this party rolling over on the Iceman show. Starts at 5:30. We ran through everything. We talked about Dalton Risner. We talked about Trey Hendrickson pop-up show, and it was a great one. You mentioned earlier, I said, I don't know. I think we can just wait till Friday. And then I'm on that treadmill, and Dalton Risner signs, and I'm like, I called Dustin. I'm like, all right, you were right. You were on to something. We do need to have a pop-up show. So let's do it. Went and grabbed the 6-pack on a house, another 3 of these bad boys on Jeff's show.
Yeah. I mean,
and call tonight after that.
Wednesdays are always the days that are kind of crazy. Obviously, this was like waiver pickup day too. So it's kind of like, yeah, there's a lot going on. So yeah, cool, man. Nice little present from the Bengals. I mean, we have to wait. Obviously, this weekend we got college football, which I'm absolutely obviously.
Ohio State versus Texas. Sorry, Dalton, but horns down this
Archie
week,
Manning.
buddy.
Archie Manning, let's see what you're made of, bro.
Let's derail that hype train immediately for Archie. No, I said it on Monday, and I'll stick with it. I'm a Buckeye fan. I love the Buckeyes. Texas owes us one. Number 1. Number 2, I don't know what Julian's saying is. I hope to eat those words. He's a redshirt freshman. I could see him being good a year from now. I don't think he'll be great this year. I don't want to ruin his confidence by playing, but I mean, they have freaks at wide receiver. But if I had to put my money, I would put it on Texas this week. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong as a Buckeye fan. And Dalton hopes I'm right.
Joe, did you see they're down? I think both their tackles. They're right in. I think their left tackle's banged up. They're saying he's going to play, but he's banged up. So they might be down they're down their right tackle for the year, and then their left tackle could be.
Their left tackle's really good, so that's one to watch because their left tackle, Trevor Gooseby, he could be a first-round pick, and he's only a redshirt sophomore. He had to play a little bit with injuries last year, looked really good. So if Gooseby's out, that would be a big deal for Texas, but we'll see. I mean, he's obviously, you said he's going to play, but if he has to go out because he's not fully healthy.
Can I pick a quick upset for the weekend? Yeah,
we can do more of this on Friday's show too.
Okay,
we can talk more college ball. I don't, I'm going to set the show and we can talk about what we want because I don't give a shit what Pork Chop and Greg says. We'll talk college football on Friday.
Dude, I'm a chatty Cathy, so I can just keep going. So I'll let you get over to Aisha's show.
No, but what is your ups? Go ahead and.
I actually think, and this is going to make some Cincy people happy, I'm calling Cincinnati over Nebraska on Thursday night. Yeah,
Dylan Raiola getting beat by Cincinnati and Brendan Sorsby.
Because Nebraska has a somewhat questionable defense. They brought in a lot of transfers. That's a tough offense to go against.
I'm excited to see Jeff Caldwell. He's a wide receiver for Cincinnati. He's like 6'5", transferred from like Lindenwood or somewhere, but dude was balling out through camp. And he's 6'5" at wide receiver. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
I'm stoked to see him too. Who's the tight end too for Cincy?
Joe Royer.
Yeah. What's your early thoughts on him?
Oh, man, I think he could have been a day 2 pick last year. So the fact that he went back to school, I think he should have a huge season. He's still got the connection with Sorsby. They added a guy like Taron Tayo on the offensive line from Ball State that's supposed to be pretty impressive. I know Ryan Sparks loves him. But, yeah, a lot of college ball, man. I need a whole separate show. There's not enough hours in the day for me. I got a actual full-time job. I'm writing for Cincy Jungle. I'm doing this show 2 to 3 days a week, doing the draft guide, keeping up on that. But, man, I would love to have just a college football / prospect show to talk about sometime, too.
Well, your wins. Great article today. I read through it. Everybody check out Cincy Jungle. Dale is writing for them, putting out some tremendous content there. So, yeah, man, good stuff.
I have dumbass thoughts, and they let me put them on a website. So, what could go wrong?
It is cool, our Bengals ecosystem. We have a lot of platforms and people that we can connect with, chop it up. Agree, disagree. It's all good. It's all
our
good.
Fan base is incredible, man. It's the most knowledgeable fan base, period. I'm not saying that about myself, but this fan base in general, like there's shit I'm wrong on, and people are just immediately correcting me. I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Just man, top notch, man. You're all the best. We're a passionate fan base. We deserve a Super Bowl, and I hope we get one this season for the Bengals. But I appreciate you all, and I am going to hop over to the Iceman show, Dustin. Thank you so much for your time, brother. And Dustin's basically part of the show now, if you guys haven't noticed. This guy, he just showed up and wouldn't leave. So, he's gonna keep being here. As we'll have him as long as he'll show up. So we love having Dustin on. He's a fantastic addition.
So much fun. So much fun. It's gonna be a fun season. But yeah, thanks everybody for chatting in. Just awesome people in the Brew Crew. Always great comments and football content in there, bringing up stuff I don't know. So I'm always learning from you guys. It's great.
I love it. I love it, man. And we'll have to do a show soon where everybody can tap in too. I love doing that. Thought about today. There was just so much to get to that I was like, it derails it more. But I definitely want to get a show where everyone can hop in and give their thoughts on the Bengals off season and the Bengals upcoming season. You know, maybe we can do that sometime before the game next Sunday. Hoo day. Appreciate y'all. Brew Crew, you're